Wondering how your mindset affects your life? How to bring more energy into your business and life? Millions of people around the world ask these same questions daily. You are in the right place. Learn practices that will help give your life the meaning and success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Charge Podcast, teaching you how to create habits around real goals every day. Practical life advice from those who made it. Here's your host, Gary Wilbers.
It is great when someone sends you an email about the book you just published. Here's what they said. This book strikes at the heart of using the gifts God has given you, not only to be the best version of yourself, but also in being a steward that helps others find their best selves. Thanks, Mark Register, for sharing that with our listeners. As you know, my book recently launched as an Amazon bestseller. Cultivate Positive Culture, 10 Actions of Faithful Living is now available for purchase. As a listener to the Charge Podcast, I would love for you to get a copy of the book. I hear they make great stocking stuffers. You can go where you purchase books, or better yet, go to my site and order the book directly from us, and I will give you free shipping and handling since you are helping us with sharing our message to others. Just go to cultivatepositiveculture.com to get your copy today. Thanks for supporting the Charge Podcast by purchasing the book directly from us. Remember, all the details about ordering is at chargepodcast.com, where Chris does a great job sharing all the notes about the upcoming podcast. Check them out. The countdown is on, and we are 1 month from ending the first year of this decade of the 20s. Wow. I don't think any of us imagined 2020 would be the year of the pandemic. I know it has been a challenging year, but as Chargers, we have to get up each day and realize our choices make us who we are each day. In this final month of 2020, we have guests that will help you get clarity in your life, start to make a nutrition plan that will impact your health, steps to building a legendary life, and what you need to do to build mental performance. If you are feeling frustrated and stressed out with your professional or personal life, I know in each of these podcasts, the strategies that each guest shares can propel you to live a charged life in 2021. Chargers, are you committed to finding how each day they can make their life better by their willingness to learn, grow, and become the person you were meant to be? I think this quote I coined in my new book, Cultivate Positive Culture. Give yourself permission to charge each day to become the person you were meant to be. You made a great choice in listening to this podcast. Remember, the podcast is named Charge after my mantra, create habits around real goals every day. Let's get recharged in this podcast to influence a positive culture today so you can make the choices to be positive each day. Are you ready? Chargers, I hope you are ready for a great podcast today because we found a guest that we're going to have some fun with today. Tommy Breedlove is a Wall Street Journal and USA Today best-selling author of the book Legendary. He is a relationship and mindset coach who is a regular featured keynote speaker at global events. He serves clients and audiences by empowering them to build and live legendary lives. He guides them to build lasting legacy, work in their zone of brilliance, obtain financial confidence, and live with meaning and balance. Tommy, it is great to have you on the Charge Podcast.
Gary, I'm super fired up to charge, man. So I am grateful to be here, and let's get it on.
I tell you, if Chargers aren't ready now, they know from both of us they're going to get a double dose today. So get ready, Chargers. This is going to be a fun one. Let's start off with my mantra, because if I don't, I'll forget about it. Charge. Create habits around real goals every day. What habit or habits led to success in your life, Tommy?
Brother, I get up every morning and spend 90 minutes to 2 hours investing in myself. I'm talking about my mental muscles, my emotional muscles, my physical muscles, and my spiritual muscles. And I believe that's a lost art, to where if we do the work, the inner game and the outer game, to be as best as we can, that includes meditation, prayer, readings, exercise, walkings, my daily reads, you name it. I've got a whole big routine I do. And it's all about preparing myself so I can serve my family, my community, my clients better.
Yeah, I tell you, Chargers hear that a lot from my guest, and I'm telling you, it's one of those, if you haven't started Chargers, you really decide. And if you can't start with 90, just start with 20 and get started.
5.
You can
Get
build
to
up to
5.
whatever you want. Right, get started. That's the key we're telling you. Well, Tommy, I think I've done a little bit of research on you, and we've got to speak a little bit, but I think we should start with where your story. And share with us a little bit, the audience, because, they hear that best-selling author and everything else, but we all started somewhere else. Where did Tommy kind of start this journey at?
Yeah, brother, I definitely didn't come out of the womb with a best-selling book. I came out quite the opposite. I grew up in good blue-collar, humble beginnings in the south side of Atlanta. Nobody in my family had ever graduated college, and I was going to be the first person to do that. And I'm proud that I actually became that, but it wasn't the journey I quite thought. Unfortunately, inside and out of the home, I grew up with a lot of violence and abuse. And when I was looking at a full ride to the University of Georgia and half a ride to Miami and a few other colleges, instead of being the first person to go to school in my family, which I was slotted to do with scholarships, unfortunately, I became what I didn't like. I became that violence and anger. And at 18, I committed a violent crime and was facing 7 years in prison, believe it or not, Gary. Luckily, by the grace of God, and it was my first offense, they dropped it down to misdemeanors. And I spent my 19th birthday incarcerated. One of my first male mentors, which I need to point out, was an African-American gentleman, which is huge, by the way. Crossed racial lines, mentored me, loved me, said, you're not going to be in this revolving door system. And with his love and guidance, I picked myself up and dusted myself off. When I got out, I went to work for a nuclear waste container factory for $6 an hour during the day, put myself through community college at night, and did end up back at the University of Georgia. And I literally went from a jail cell to Deloitte & Touche, one of the largest public accounting and financial consulting firms in the world, in less than 3 years. That's something I'm really, really proud of. Fast forward a little bit for the story. So then I was in the financial consulting, mergers and acquisitions, public accounting world for a long, long time. There I am, 36 years old, fancy car, corner office, cufflinks, sexy suit. On the outside, you say, hey, this guy's going somewhere. But what truly was is I was this scared, alone little boy still wanting to be seen, heard, and loved. Excuse me. Excuse me there. I don't know where my voice went. That's not good on a podcast. But anyway, so instead of when the money, the power, the fame, I grew up very humbly. And I thought, this is the American dream. I still think money and success is super important. However, when it didn't fill my cup, when I wasn't fulfilled and happy and I found myself still angry, still scared, still alone, still competing and conquering at all costs, when that didn't fill me up, I literally turned to all the darkness that you can think of. Think Wolf of Wall Street type lifestyle, that movie and book that came out, and literally found myself in a ditch at 36 years old, looking up at the sky in Atlanta. Didn't know how I got there, half dressed. And I'm looking around and think, my God, who am I? Where am I going? And what's this all about? And so I decided at that moment to transform my life emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, and just be me. No longer wear those masks, cool guy, important guy, conquering guy, funny guy, and just be Tommy. And so I went on this journey, and that's where we talk about charge. When did I start charging? That was it. And so the most amazing thing happened in my life after that. And I never planned on leaving the financial consulting world and public accounting. I did not plan on doing that. But when I just started investing in me with mentors, coaches, my daily routine, surrounding myself with positive people, my income doubled. And I'm not kidding, in 3 years. I went from junior partner to senior partner to an owner of this large firm to elected to the board of directors at 39. Most of the people there were 60. My marriage was the best it's ever been. My network 10x, and I was happy and fulfilled. And then at 39 years old, I'm not kidding, my network, bankers, lawyers, entrepreneurs, corporate executives, you name it, they started coming out of the woodworks and saying, hey, man, I don't know what you did, but I want some of that. And I literally started casually just coaching and mentoring people much older than I was as well, which was really cool. And I realized this is a calling, man. I got to listen to these road signs that are coming. And so at 39, I literally walked away at the top of the game, sold my equity, and chased this dream to help people with their money, their business, but just as important with their mindset and relationships. And over time, I saw a formula, and I was like, if they do these simple things and apply these things to their lives, success, happiness, fulfillment, better relationships, love, the things that we all want, you can truly have it all if you just do some work to get there. And that, when I saw the playbook come, that's where the book Legendary came about. And the reason I picked the title legendary in a world of constant self-promotion, Gary, if you and I start calling ourselves legends, people laugh us out the room.
Right.
So I think legendary and legend is something that's given to us by our peers, our families, our communities, and society. And you can either be a great legend or a bad legend. And so it's something that's granted to us, and you don't have to be rich and famous to be legendary. You just got to leave this world, the people and the humans that you touch, a little better than you found them. And that's where the playbook legendary came about, by that journey.
Yeah. Wow. We got so many different ways that we can go, Tommy, with that. But I think you set it up great, because I think it really now lets it, yeah, you shared your story, but how many of our listeners are listening and they have their story that is similar, that they're wanting that change? So I think I'm going to start with, really, you talk about that mindset, how important that is to master your mindset. And you've kind of really worked on some skills and processes to be able to help people do that. And I love talking about mindset. So I'm going to kind of dig in there first. Is that person, now we think about that person that's listening to us and they're having that challenge and they're saying, yeah, that's great for Tommy, but what about me?
Well, the truth is, if I can do it, anybody can do it. I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. Because I struggled with self-confidence. I struggled with that voice inside my head that says, you're not lovable, you're not worthy, you're not good enough. What if they figure out you don't know what you're doing? And even worse, what if they figure out your deepest, darkest desires? And here's the key. Every single human being on earth has those issues. Some are smaller and some are larger. Sometimes that voice inside your head is extremely loud. We've even nicknamed mine Ike. My wife and I nicknamed him because he's just a really loud, obnoxious dude, man. And when he gets in there and at the time he go around gets going, it's not good. But here's the thing. No matter if you're struggling with fear, worry, insecurity, unhappiness, unfulfillment, anger, especially in today's modern world, it's like we're promoting, division and anger. The first thing you've got to realize is you're not alone. And the second thing is there's some simple steps that you can do in your life to help minimize that noise. And I'm going to say some woo-woo stuff. Not only master your mindset, more self-confidence, more self-respect, more of a financial abundance loving mindset as opposed to worry, anger, and all that. Not only can you do that, but you can also start standing taller with self-respect and self-esteem. And here's the key to mindset. Eventually, and this sounds woo-woo probably for some people, but it's the God's honest truth. We've got to start developing unconditional love and self-respect for ourselves. We have to.
Yes.
And receiving love and respecting yourself is one of the hardest things to do. We can talk about leading others, but leading ourselves is very, very difficult. And so there's a lot of skills, tactics, tools to all that unwiring that's happened to us throughout our life, from culture, our parents, there's all things that, just all this information has come into us that tells us that we're not enough, and we all struggle with it. But you can unwire that. You can move forward, and it's like building muscles. You just got to start somewhere. It's like going to the gym. When you go to the gym, you're not going to shoot the basketball like Kobe Bryant or be physically fit. It takes time and patience and work. And all of these things are practices, from gratitude to meditation to reading to hiring mindset. I mean, there's 1,000 tools out there, and surrounding yourself with that good information as opposed to all the noise and garbage, because garbage in is garbage out. Well, love, abundance, health, financial confidence, that's goodness in. It'll come in goodness out. So any human being can master their mindset. Trust me, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah. I love that, because that's the key, is really people realizing that they can change. And one thing we're learning now is we can build that mental fitness to ourselves. Both of us, I'm sure work out. We have the physical fitness. I didn't have that a few years back. 2002 is when I changed that and told myself that I needed to get physically fit. But I've also realized how I can get mentally fit by mentally concentrating. Like you said, it's not anything out there that people don't know about, but you have that capability, but you've got to be willing to learn. And some of those habits, like you talked about, that allows us to do it. That morning routine, this structure that you set for yourself allows you to get there. Well, I think you talk about a lot of these, and I have not got to read it yet, but I will be getting me a copy. And my wife will say, another book you're going to buy? Yes, I'm going to buy your book. Don't worry.
I'm actually going to mail you a signed copy so you don't have to buy it.
Okay. She'll love that then. But legendary, I know you talk about these, but share with us, because I think that really will frame up the rest of our conversation of really what you packed into the book and what you want the audience to get out of it.
So to me, I'm gonna tell you what living a legendary life means to me. And there's a definition for everyone. But for me, it's about living life with purpose, meaning, and significance. And purpose, meaning, and significance is something greater than ourselves. The second thing is we all struggle with time, being overwhelmed and stressed and feeling like we don't have enough. So living a legendary life is about conquering your time. And it's about building a financial mindset and financial confidence leading toward financial freedom. And I'm I was a financial guy for 22 years, but anyone can learn the skills, the mindset, and apply things into their daily lives, regardless of where you are with your money, to build financial confidence mindset toward financial freedom. It's about cutting out the noise in society and filling your cup with goodness, investing in yourself first. But it's also the intangible things too. We talked about it, mastering your mindset, developing unconditional love and self-respect for yourself, and ultimately having more intimate and better and healthier and loving relationships with your significant other, your family, your friends, and your network. All of those things, because human beings are one stew. If you take some ingredients out of the stew, it's not going to taste right. So it really is simple tactics, good stories. I don't talk about very many famous people. It's just people in my life that have inspired me. It's simple stories, basic tools, and a playbook in a simple, fun way that if you apply just one of these things, wherever you are in your life and whatever you would like more of, is it happiness? Is it fulfillment? Is it better mindset? Is it more money? Is it conquering your time? Is it purpose? Pick one, apply it to your life. And I promise you, if you just practice that 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and if you really do something different for a year, it will manifest in your life to where you will feel like, I want to do this every day. And you'll start building toward that legendary life status. Really, it's going from stuck to unstuck, and you being the driver of your ship. And to me, that's what building a legendary life is.
Yeah. And I love that, because first we're working on ourselves, because that's a true leader. You have to lead yourself. And I think what I'd like to do is break some of those down, because on purpose, when you're talking to someone that's in self-development, they understand purpose, they get it. I've got my purpose statement right here in front of me that I look at each and every day, but other people don't. And what do you really mean about purpose, Tommy? What do you mean there? Because, I've got that job or I've got that business that I own, but they haven't really defined what their true purpose is yet.
If you find yourself looking at the sky or at a fire or just in your daily life asking, why am I here? That's a sense of lack of purpose. What does this all mean? That's a lack of purpose. And purpose is something greater than us. And I'll give you the simple definition. It's where you use your God-given talents, and we all have them. If you don't think you have God-given talents, you're wrong. And I don't say anything definitive, but you're wrong, because I promise you have God-given talents. It's the intersection of your God-given talents meets something that you actually enjoy doing, meets something that you think the world or society or your community needs. At the intersection of those three things, because that's a higher calling. And what I love about purpose is your purpose changes depending on the season of your life and your desires and what you believe in. Your core values really never change, but your purpose does change. And so if you find yourself unfulfilled or lack meaning or like, why am I here? Where am I going? Who's coming with me? Purpose. And you apply it in your work life, you apply it in your personal life, your family life. It's how you use your talents. And I believe every single human being on earth has a purpose. It's how you use your talents and things that you love to make this world, the next person, or your community a little bit better. And that's what purpose is.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you define that and share that with the audience, because I think that's the key. And it's allowing yourself to discover it. And some of that you can do by journaling. You can really think through, am I passionate about? What do I really care about? I mean, I was able to do that for myself a few years back when I went into the coaching and speaking. I had a very successful business, but I decided I wanted to be something else. I didn't need to be known as the mobile phone guy, or back nowadays we would call the wireless guy. And I changed that and decided I wanted to help serve others and be that servant leader. So when we're creating that purpose, that of course gives us that meaning. How do we start to really look at the meaning in life? Because some of us, we're in different stages, like you said. Some of us are just starting out careers. Some of us are in our mid-career, and there's others we're on that late stage. So no matter which one, they can do it. But how do we start to define that meaning going past either the job or the business that I have, that I am able to live the life that I truly want?
So when you take those three elements, and it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you're a seasoned professional or you're going into your later stages where you're retiring and regardless if you're ready to go play the golf course and go to pasture, the reason that those folks sometimes feel unfulfilled or they've lost value to their life is they're still not operating in their purpose. So you have to get tactical with that statement. And once you figure out your God-given talents meets things that you enjoy doing, meets something you think the world, people, or community needs, is that becomes your operating procedure. That becomes your tactical day-to-day existence. And you can use it inside of your job, outside of your job, at a restaurant with a friend, or in the not-for-profit and servant community, whatever that means to you. But the meaning to life is we're here to serve. And we're here to make this world, our fellow humans, and ourselves a little bit better each day, because that's where innovation, inspiration, love, and goodness comes from. And so once you know, I want to use this talent, and if you don't know your God-given talents, ask your 5 closest friends. They'll tell you what they are, by the way. Yeah. Find something you love doing. Find something you're good at and get tactical. It could just be somebody next door. I'm using my talents, something I enjoy doing, to help my next door neighbor, to help my brother, to help my mother, to help, a nonprofit, to help your business that you're currently in. And it's not, either or. It's your kind of your standard operating procedure. And once you know it, here's the thing, you can't unknow it. And once in life though, you feel like, hey, I think I want to do something else, and I want to serve another community. That's when you know your calling is to change your purpose. So to me, it's not an either or thing, regardless of where you are in life. And it could be you're just starting out and you're the lowest of the low and making minimum wage. But if you find your purpose and you start working toward it and applying it to whatever you do, that's where your life starts to have meaning, fulfillment. That's where peace of mind comes in. That's where something greater than you comes from. And when you serve others, you're truly serving yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And I knew this was going to be a fun conversation because you and I are on the same page. But I think the key that I want to really talk about is we have individuals that right now they're saying, yeah, but remember what Tommy told you in the story. And that's why I wanted him to start with the story. 39, he had the corner office, had that. And money was flowing pretty well, but he had put the other pieces back together. But he knew there was more. And that's the key. There's more. And that's where I want you to tell yourself, okay, when I need to make change, if I'm willing to pivot, good things can continue to happen. It doesn't have to be the either or. For some people, they can get that satisfaction right out of their business. So if you can, get that, but make that change and make that pivot, because ultimately that last area, a significance that we talked about, do you want to be successful or do you want to be significant in your life? There's a big difference there. And I'll let Tommy share his philosophy behind that, because success, everybody defines it different, but significance becomes the real key in one of your parts of the legendary life that you're talking about.
Totally. Significance is about impact. And impact does not necessarily correlate with money and power. Impact is how you, impact yourself for the better and impact someone else for the better. And that's what significance is. Significance is when we pass away, they're not going to read how many cars we've got, how important we were at work, and did you have a yacht or not. No one's going to care. They're going to talk about how you made them feel, how you served, and they're either going to say it or not say it. And that's where legendary comes in. If they're not saying it and they're talking kind of like, why am I here? This guy was a jerk. That's being a negative legendary. And there's been a lot of those. But so to me, significance is so much more greater. And I'm the first person to tell you that money's important. I think if someone says money's not important, run from them, they're broke. But at the end of the day, money and power without impact, without significance, without love, without relationships, without happiness and joy is meaningless. And so time and time again, I've seen it. And so I want you to be successful in business and in life. I want you to be happy and fulfilled. I want you to be financially independent and serving others. And here's the key. If you're not happy, you're worried, you're scared, your money's not right, your time is out of control, you feel like you don't have meaning in your life, this is the truth. Go find the nearest mirror and look into it. That's both the problem and the solution. And right there in that mirror. And you got to choose to do something different today. One small action today. Is it picking up a book and reading it? Is it calling a friend? Is it firing some negative influence in your life, a friend or family member? Is it hiring a coach? Is it starting a meditation practice? Is it gratitude? Is it learning a new skill so that you can make more money? But choose to do something different. Look in the mirror, decide to make change in your life, because you've got to participate in your own rescue. There is no one coming to save you. And that image you see in the mirror, problem and solution.
Yeah, I love that, because we are our own worst enemy. And I think this really fits. And I think we have got to talk about this, because you brought it up, is the time. We've got to conquer that time, because everybody says, I don't have enough of it. Well, in my book, I think we all have the same 24 hours. Each and every day. I have actually started some training sessions before where I was talking about how to work your time, be the leadership time side of it. And I would tell people, I just heard on the radio today that they've discovered there's 25 hours in a day. What would you do with that extra time? And of course, people can write down a lot of all these solutions. I have them write them down. And I said, why aren't we doing them now? If they're important to us, why aren't we putting those in? So kind of curious how we really take that time inventory of ourselves and tell us what's most important to us.
I think the first thing you have to realize, if you say you don't have enough time, you're not going to have enough time. Mm-hmm. And the word busy means basically something or something else is in control of your time. And we like to think as human beings that we're in control. The only thing, and this is the answer to the question, the only thing you're in control of is your choices, your mindset, and attitude. But the first one, your choices. Every moment of every day of every second, you are choosing one thing or the other to spend your time in. That's the truth. Now, we all have responsibilities and we all have obligations, but we also have the choice to set boundaries with people. We also have the choice to say no. One no is worth 1,000 yeses. In my book, I incorporate this philosophy on who I choose time with. Time is so critical. It's our most important asset. They say rich people have money and wealthy people have time. But the thing is I apply this principle to my life. If it's not a hell yes, if it's literally not a hell yes, it's a no. And so when that person calls you, or that relative or that friend, and they say, will you do this, or will you spend time here, or go to dinner or lunch? If it's not an immediate yes in the heart and gut, it's a no. And that's one way to clear up your time. But no, you said it the best. I mean, some of the most wealthy people in the world have the same 24 hours that you have. They prioritize, they say no, they make choices to invest in themselves first. Is it getting up 30 minutes earlier and spend 30 minutes working on you? Is it saying no to this commitment? Because I think a lot of us like to people please, and I lack boundaries to say no. And where you choose, if you choose to spend your time on things that make you, your business, your life, and your family better, and eliminate the rest. And there is a lot of ways. And how much time are you on social media? How much time are you Netflixing? How much time are you sitting having that third beer at the bar? Whatever your thing is, that's a choice. That's a choice. But maybe you could choose to do something different. And so the key to time mastery, boundaries, saying no, and choice.
That's great, Tommy. And I'm sure glad that Tommy made the choice to be on our podcast today, Chargers. What do you think of that? Because if he wouldn't have made that choice, we wouldn't get this good information here. And he is just right on. So I truly appreciate that. Before we get that recharge round, because one thing about when I love conversations, they go really quick, and I get some really great conversations on the podcast. But I think this is important, because that financial freedom, you talked about how important that is. But of course, again, we have across the gamut that we talked about earlier. We have that person that's starting out, that person that's 60, and they know they're not in the financial position they need to be able to get to where they want to go. What would be some of the systems or tips that you would give them to share with them to build that financial freedom?
The first thing I would say is know that you're not alone. And I'm a big fan of the United States of America from A to Z. But one thing we have failed on in our younger days is financial intelligence, as well as emotional and mental intelligence. Is, how do we operate in life? And so the first thing I would say is, you're not alone, so don't be scared. And again, you are the problem and the solution. The first thing you've got to do is start building some basic money intelligence. Like truly understanding budgeting, cash flows, inflows, outflows, why credit card debt is so horrifically bad. And there's all these great resources, tools, podcasts, books, YouTube. One of the best I've ever seen is Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. he literally gives you the blocking and tackling and basics and makes it fun. So you have to build your financial knowledge, because there's a lot of sharks, scorpions, credit card companies, debt, bad investors, bad financial planners, and they're going to take advantage of you. So you got to take control. And as you build these basic tools, if you do that book and then you do a few others about investing and savings and keep investing in your financial mind, and as you start applying these tools in your life, you'll start gaining more confidence. You'll see the returns of being on the right side of interest and not the wrong side of interest. And it doesn't literally matter if you make $6 an hour or $600 million an hour. Of course, the one makes it a little easier to invest, but the other, you can start anywhere and literally invest in your knowledge, invest in your skill. Again, budgeting, cash flows, debt management, savings, investing. I would start with Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. And then I would move to Unstoppable by Tony Robbins. Both are very simple books, and they just give you the knowledge and apply that knowledge. And also, there's things that you can do to build your money mindset. If you think that money is for them, or we've never had money, or money is for those select few or the lucky, that's a negative money mindset. And we've got to rewire that. We rewire that through education. We rewire that through gratitude. We rewire that through affirmations. There's all these tools we can do to rewire it. And know that there's so many great heroes' journeys of people who started dirt poor. You're listening to one of them right now, and who made it to the top of the financial world. And everything in between, all they did was do the work. They invested in their knowledge, they invested in their mindset, and eventually you'll start gaining confidence. Eventually you start understanding what the news and the talking heads and then all these people are saying about money. You're like, hey, I got this. I can do this. But you've got to do the work. And we talk about it. It's the largest chapter in my book, and my publisher and editors made me put it in there because I was 22 years as a corporate financial consultant. And so I'm classically trained in all things money. And they're like, look, it's so important for humans to have a financial mindset, confidence, and you build toward freedom. And freedom is where you can truly say no, and you can go do what you want to do in life. It has nothing to do with X number. You can choose that number. So to me, it's all about building the schools, tools, systems, and everything. But getting your knowledge is first, building the blocks. You can't build the roof and hang up, pictures if you don't have the foundation. So you got to build the foundation. And I talk about it pretty heavily in my book, Legendary.
Okay. Well, definitely we need to check that out. But one thing I would tell people is what Tommy is telling you is work on yourself. Don't look at your neighbors when you pull up to your drive tonight and think something's different over there, because you have no clue where they're at. Many people are in financial challenge that may have the brand new vehicles and everything else. But remember, they're 1 or 2 paychecks away from financial disaster. Instead, build it yourself. And what you're talking about is building that knowledge base where you become that financial freedom person. And you've given 2 great examples there to be able to check it out with Dave Ramsey and Tony Robbins, both ends of the spectrum there that will really allow you to build that for yourself. Well, Tommy, we could go on and on. I know that would not be a problem for either one of us. We've talked about this first one on the recharge round right out the gate quite a bit, but I'm going to ask you for yourself. You talked about your daily habit in the morning, but what do you do and how do you really set your mindset each day to get started, get rolling?
I give myself quiet time. Quiet time for me means this. It means writing gratitude, writing affirmations, quiet time to think, quiet time to meditate, and quiet time to pray. And that's what's important to me. And that for me fills my cup, fills my soul, fills my heart, gets me more proactive, not reactive, gets me in a calm space, gets me to take on the challenges of the day. And life, it's not if life happens, it's when. So those things, it's all about quiet time. I mean, I cherish my quiet time. And it can be 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, whatever's important to you. But it literally sets my day. It puts me in a place of love, abundance, proactivity, not reactivity. And it's my way of filling my engine, putting gas in my engine so that I can go serve the day.
Yeah, and you notice he says his time. That becomes his time. He breaks that out in his day, knowing that that's how valuable that is.
It's actually on my calendar, by the way.
Yeah.
It's literally locked on my calendar.
You've got to have it blocked in. That's right. Well, they both know we're high energy guys. But I'm going to ask you this question instead. When your energy is low, what do you do to recharge?
To me, it's about rest, relaxation, and fun. You've got to step away. We have there's all these pretty successful people out there saying they're making books 5 a.m., 4 a.m., 3 a.m., work 99 million hours, and then you can rest. Well, you're going to kill yourself doing that. That's nonsense. So for me, knowing when to step away, knowing when to rest, scheduling time for fun, because we've got to recharge. If we're not enjoying this life, why are we doing this scrap anyway, right? So to me, it's about rest, sleep, and spending time with people I love and doing things that you enjoy. You have to step away from the craft, the responsibilities, and the obligations. That's how I recharge.
That's how you create a positive culture too. My audience knows I love talking about culture. It's about creating the culture that you want for yourself, your family, and others. How about the number one relationship or connection that's made the biggest impact on your life?
Chris Tuff, bar none. He's become my best friend in life. I was his coach. I met him when I was running an executive retreat. We became brothers, from other mothers, and my best friend. And the man would walk through a wall for me, and I would walk through a wall for him. And he is part of my inner circle and my inner board of directors. And I truly love that man and everything about him. So Chris Tuff, the millennial whisperer. Hopefully he listens to this.
Right. What advice has influenced you the most in your life?
2 things. Participate in your own rescue. You're the master of your destiny, that. And the second thing is, do you want to live your life or do you want to live your story? Because if you start living your life, you can write the end of your story.
Ooh, that is excellent. I wish we could drop the mic there, but we're not done yet. So I know you're a reader, and I know Legendary would be a great book, but what book would you recommend to someone and share why you like it?
Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It's ancient wisdom, and it covers every aspect of your life. It's probably the biggest influence in my life. I've read it 6 times. And it literally talks about everything we've talked about: money, success, happiness, love, and it even goes deep into sex, believe it or not, which is kind of interesting. But it's ancient, it's good, and he literally interviewed 200 of the most successful people on earth and put this formula together, and it's absolutely a must read. I'm gonna make all of my clients read it, by the way.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's one of the best books out there, and it's kind of interesting. I just brought mine out and dusted it off a little bit because I'm getting ready to do a kind of a session with some mastermind, and he talks about masterminding in there, working with others. Absolutely. Just like you said, those 5 core people that you really can impact, and it makes a difference in your life. Well, we've come to the gauntlet, but I'm going to kind of end it with this one. What legacy do you want to leave the world?
I want to touch 1 million men's lives so that they can touch 1 million more men's lives. And I think we live in a fatherless society right now. I'm not talking about just lack of fathers in certain communities, but I'm also talking about the guys that are working 900 hours and they're not there for their children. And we need masculine energy, we need feminine energy, and we need both of them. And men need mentorship, they need help, they need love. And the most thing the men need the most is connection. Being able to ask for help, being able to say, I don't know it all, and being able to ask real questions about life, love, so we don't die on that white horse. So for me, a legacy significance is touching 1 million men's lives so that they can touch 1 million more men's lives.
Excellent. Well, you've touched a lot of men's lives. I don't know if I have 1 million listening to the podcast, but I would like that to happen. So who knows? Over the years, we may touch that 1 million.
Start with 1. All you got to do is start with 1.
That's the thing. You've been touched with me, and that's the big thing about the podcast is each person. Now the question we would ask you, Chargers, who are you going to go out there and touch and share this information with? Because there's probably someone that you know that could really hear this message and be very beneficial to them. And if you would share it, that's a great way to touch that individual that's there. Tommy, before we go, share with them how they can reach out to you. And I think you have also some gifts that they can get.
Absolutely. So we put a lot of love, light, and good energy and innovation and life hacks out on social media. Check us out, Instagram at Tommy Breedlove, LinkedIn, Tommy Breedlove. We're just out there. We put out goodness, light, love, and goodness. You're not going to see any negative political nonsense from us. If you kind of dig what I'm saying today, if you go to tommybreedlove.com/gifts, we talked about it because of where we are in society right now. We're giving away the financial confidence and freedom chapters, and we're also giving away the mastering your mindset chapters. And with that, you also get our purpose formula, my purpose statement, so that you can start developing your own. And so if you like those things and those flavors dig you, go check out the whole book, Legendary. It's at all your favorite bookstores, but at Tommy Breedlove and TommyBreedlove.com/gifts, we're giving those things away. And there's a whole bunch of more goodies that you get as well. But yeah, just come check us out, and love to hear from you too.
Well, check it out, folks, because I know this impact, the conversation that we had made an impact, and someone's asking. Now, if you are exercising or running or doing whatever you're doing right now, and you can't write all that information down, don't worry, we've got you covered. Chargepodcast.com. All those links are on there. All you've got to do is click on them, and you'll get straight to the areas that Tommy talked about. So know that that's available to you, Chargers. Tommy, again, this has been a great conversation. We're going to have to probably have another one of these down the road, because I think it's some valuable information that you shared with our audience today.
Anytime, my brother. This has been an honor, and let's go charge. Anything charge. Let's get in the arena, baby.
That's right. Get in the arena, find that purpose, find that meaning, and then ultimately live your significance in life. That's how you become legendary. And today we've had a legendary Tommy Breedlove with us today. So thank you again, Tommy.
Thank you, my brother. Have a great day.
Chargers, if you're not charged up now, we're going to have to take your pulse and say, hook you up, because I'm telling you, we're charged up, ready to go. So I'm glad you listened to the podcast. I'm glad you were here today, but do me a favor. Like and share this podcast and let others know about it, because that's how we will touch more people's lives. Thanks for joining us, Chargers. Make it a great day. Here's a short description of the book, Cultivate Positive Culture. Lloyd, a truck driver from Forward Trucking, Inc., has a random encounter with death while making his way back home. Lloyd, who is short on faith and options, finds himself in the largest downward spiral of his life. He meets an unexpected traveler who sees something in him that Lloyd couldn't find on his own. Together, through a new sense of faith and reason, Lloyd discovers his life's calling. I'm so excited to launch this book, and I appreciate your help. Remember, get your copy today at cultivatepositiveculture.com. Thanks for supporting the book.
This podcast has ended, but your life doesn't just stop. To continue your inspiring journey, head over to chargepodcast.com and access all the tools and resources mentioned on today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, consider sharing with somebody who may also benefit from the advice provided. That's chargepodcast.com. Until next time, charge in business and life.